Hello, welcome to the third video in Module 3, Assessing Language Knowledge. In these lectures, we are going to investigate into aspects of assessing pronunciations. In short, the mini-lectures is going to cover three main questions and issues in assessing pronunciation, which is 1. Why is it difficult to assess pronunciation? 2. Assessment method. 3. Suggested tasks to assess pronunciations. 1. Why is it difficult to assess pronunciations? According to Hilton in 1988, it is possible for people to produce practically all the correct sounds, but still be unable to communicate their ideas appropriately and effectively. On the other hand, people can make numerous errors in both phonology and syntax, and yet succeed in expressing themselves fairly clearly. So, how should we assess pronunciations? The ideal ways of testing pronunciation is to actually listen to the learners. But since this is not all the way possible or suitable, the alternative discussed in this lesson can be used for testing segments and word stress. And following are 14 exercise types that teachers can make use when it comes to pronunciation assessment. 2. Assessment method. Depending on the aims of our assessment, two approaches of testing pronunciation are going to be described: atomistic and holistic. Before dealing with these, we look at the most common concept of pronunciation testing, namely impression-based pronunciation testing. Taking into account our school environment, teachings, and technical conditions in our classes, testing based on the teacher's impression rather than using any objective scientific method is inevitable. According to Spika-Kolowska in 2005, the impression-based pronunciation testing has many drawbacks. She mentioned that different assessors may have different criteria of evaluation, and it is also more general and therefore can be imprecise. What speaks in favor of the impression-based pronunciation testing is the fact that it is typical of many international examinations in English, like Cambridge English Examination, where the assessor evaluates intelligibility and the amount of strain a candidate's pronunciation puts on the listeners. Atomistic approach requires a detailed marking scheme in which specific aspects of pronunciation are evaluated separately. It means reading aloud word lists based on phonemic opposition, short sentences containing minimal pair, or it also enables testing appropriate sentence accentuation or sentence stress and intonation. This approach is claimed to be more objective than the holistic one, as it judges only segments of speech, particular vowel, consonant, stress, rhythm, intonation, and so on. Nevertheless, the drawbacks of this approach are the demands on the assessor in a school environment, the teachers. It requires recording the learner's speech sample and repeated listening to them. So, it is extremely time-consuming and thus unsuitable for large classes. There are three ways to conduct atomistic testing. 1. Repetitions. On the beginner level, the easy test to prepare is repetition exercise. It is useful for learners who cannot read or who are beginning with English. It is based on hearing sound, stress and intonation, and imitation, which gives the teachers the gist of the learner's potential and phonetics ability. The test may consist of single words or sentences, checking particular items rather than all pronunciation aspects at the same time, in order to be as much objective as possible. Hearing identifications. Another way of testing beginners as well as more advanced learners is hearing identifications. Good pronunciation is dependent on our abilities to hear the language. It can consist of recognizing sounds in minimal pair, the fall or rise in intonations, or identifying stress in words or sentences. Reading aloud. Commonly used ways of pronunciation assessment is reading aloud. According to Mason in 1983, 3 points should be kept in mind. 1. When using lists of sentences, evaluate only 1 or 2 points per sentence. 2. Use natural language. And 3. Avoid signaling to the student which pronunciation point you are testing. A higher level of achievement is testing intelligibility and acceptability of the learner's performance. In this holistic approach to pronunciation testing, examiners are asked not to pay too much attention to any one aspect of a candidate's performance, but rather to judge its overall effectiveness. The advantage of this procedure is that it can be administered to large groups and is not as time-demanding as the atomistic approach. As it has been already mentioned, this approach is used by many international exams in English, where the pronunciation is involved in so-called intelligibility and acceptability of the candidate's speaking performance. As we have already mentioned, the main criterion for holistic testing is the efficiency of communication between two people. Therefore, the best method is interactive testing, including more than only one participant. All the activities should be used in the interactions of the assessor or another student to involve both sides of the communication, the speaker and the listeners, to function as an oral interview, including natural situation and asking questions. Retelling story. This kind of test involves first reading a story silently and then telling the story using one's own words and sentence structures. The assessor may interfere, giving further questions. Description of pictures. Pictures may be used for description of objects, people or scenes, or for comparisons of two similar pictures, in which the learner looks for similarities and differences. Sequence of pictures. This test is based on telling a story involving linking words, expressing the cause and the result. It can be applied to only one student or a pair, where each of them is given one half of the pictures and they should decide on the correct sequence of the story. Pictures with speech bubbles. In this test, students are required to guess what the people in the pictures are saying. It may be used individually or in pairs. Using math. Many students' books involve a unit dealing with giving direction. This activity is to be done in pairs, where one gives the directions and the other one follows them. 3. Suggested tasks to assess pronunciation. In this part, we are going to find out some practical ideas on designing pronunciation assessment tasks. 1. Dictations. A dictation exercise may appear in different forms. First, a whole passage incorporating target words to be tested. It may also consist of a set of individual words incorporating the segmental or thread features being tested. 2. Discrepancies. In this test takers are given a text from which target words have been replaced by minimal pair. They have to listen to the full passage and circle the words that are different in the text. 3. Sound discrimination. Here, the test taker listens to one word or sentence and circle the one they hear. Examples are as follows. 4. Sound comparisons. In this task, the test taker listens to a pair of words or sentences and indicate whether they are the same or different. 5. Sound definition. In this, a word is heard and several different definitions, including one that is correct for the word, are given. Test takers are asked to select the correct definition for the word they heard. It implies lexics and grammar knowledge. 6. Same sound. To do this, the test taker listens to a list of words and marks the ones that are the same. 7. Odd man out. Here, the test taker listens to a list of words and marks the one that is different. 8. Gut feeling. In this type of exercise, test taker listens to a sentence and select from a set of words the one they hear. 9. Sound recognition. Here, the test taker receives a set of cards with words. The test giver pronounces them and asks them to show the corresponding card. 10. Regrouping. In this, test takers are given a list of words and asked to regroup the words that have the same sound. 11. In matching exercise, test takers are asked to find words that have the same sound as a given word. 12. Silent letter. Here, test takers are asked to circle silent letter. Silent letter abounds in English words, and the importance of such an exercise cannot be overemphasized. 13. Word strap. Word strap is quite popular when it comes to testing pronunciation. In writing, the test taker may be asked to use one of the conventional ways of marking strap, as can be seen in the example. And finally, 14. In the task type of intonation pattern, test taker listen and identify the speaker's intention according to his intonation patterns. Now, I want to ask you some questions. Firstly, how many task types can we use to test pronunciation? A lot, right? Second, can you name all of them? And lastly, which ones do you prefer most? The answer is 14 task types. They are as follows. 1. Dictation. 2. Discrepancies. 3. Sound discrimination. 4. Sound comparisons. 5. Sound definition. 6. Same sound. 7. Odd man out. 8. Gut feeling. 9. Sound recognition. 10. Regrouping. 11. Matching. 12. Silent letters. 13. Word strap. And 14. Intonation patterns. Now we have just got some ideas about how we can use tasks to test pronunciation. I hope that after this lesson, you can make use all or some of them in your pronunciation assessment for students. So far, we have gone through 3 mini lectures belonging to module number 3, Assessing Language Knowledge. Content that we have covered are: first, assessing grammar; second, assessing vocabulary; and last, assessing pronunciation. Hopefully, after this series, you have more ideas for designing assessment tasks for grammar, vocabulary and pronunciations. Thank you and goodbye.